And during these minutes, we've come to the essence, something very simple for us to experiment with anytime. Essence of life, and it is essence of knowledge, is to know that I am safe. This is what anyone wants to know, that he is safe. With knowledge, we understand that the soul is immortal. So, just for a minute, we come to that invisible presence. Right now, Prashant is talking, still, mind can experience that invisible presence in the expanse of light. Completely different reality to the story. Presence in that world of light, knowing that this is timeless, and he truly doesn't need to know anything else. He exists forever, and he is beyond harm forever. Nice, in the way come into expansion. This whole story is such expansion, and we can go into even more expansion with our mind. Even knowledge is expansion. Even within the yoga, there are so many practices. All expansion is necessary. Just like the seed and the tree. Tree is the natural expansion. But we want to create the balance, not get lost in the expansion and forget the essence. Understand that you are immortal. It is addressed. Your existence is addressed. And now come into expansion as fun. Game changes. Let us come to a few more practices, some more attention. Our, our starting position is use the best intellect. We saw yesterday stone intellect just distorts everything. The whole problem of the world is because of the stone intellect. Pathar. We have the gift of the paras. It is there to use. And question comes, how do you make paras strong? How do you make any muscles strong? More you use the muscles, they become stronger. Even at the level of the brain, more you use some function, it gets better. For example, you use your memory to remember names, remember numbers, it will improve. It doesn't get saturated. So same at another level, subtle level. Use paras. Paras can see the bigger map. Paras can see what is subtle. Paras can see what is eternal. This is all. Worth writing this down. It can see the bigger map. Trilok cannot. 3 words it can see. Not in theory, but he lives with that. During those minutes, you are living. This is your world. That's your home. Subtle. That is natural for you. That is the family. Souls. And when you are seeing the bigger map, this physical world appears a very small story, like little drama. There is some corner, some drama going on. On the scale of things, it is so small. That's why it becomes easy to remain detached, to have the right attitude. If we make that drama big, then it is not possible to detach. Patthar, that is stone intellect, it is distorting everything. Not only drama, it gets caught into some petty things within that drama and is obsessed and worried, complaining. So with that stone intellect, you cannot become a yogi. So first step for us, we are using the right apparatus. Then everything is easy. And now it is obvious. When we use the word story, it is really the story and it's a joke. And the whole episode is deleted. It doesn't disturb you. That's why there are so many stories going on in the world. This is just another story. But you are also aware of the world beyond the story, the reality. And in the real world are real people. We use the word people. These are souls, they look like stars. But this is the real family. True family is here. True home is here. True father is here. True self is here. Until then, even the soul is not even conscious. The whole this dimension is shut down. Now that's why this paras environment favors the soul. Soul becomes conscious. And when he is conscious, just as anyone wakes up from sleep, he is conscious. Then he doesn't need to be told what your name is or who your parents are. He's conscious. Smriti. This is where that switch, turn on the switch of Smriti. So when he is conscious, it is a wonder. World is a wonder. He feels himself is a wonder. He understands he is beyond harm. Everything is the drama and all. He can see for what it is. He doesn't mix himself with the story. He is not an extension of anything from the story. The soul is not an extension of Prashant or anything from the story. They are independent things. That's why in a second, that in Jivan Mukti, liberation, story may be deleted, and that is not an issue for him. His world itself is beyond harm. And he finds it strange anyone should bother about what happens in a story. That like, how much do you bother what happens in Harry Potter? That is the attitude of one who is awake. Just like anyone who is awake, he knows he belongs to this family of God, worthy to be loved by God. It is a natural thing. It is from that family. There is a Nischay, this whole area. Once one is awake, then there is Nischay. He lives in that dimension. Worthiness to be loved by God. Right to that company in a natural way. Who feels this? The awake soul feels this. It is, his life is a celebration. Everyone is good. Everything is good. That is what the celebration. Immensely good. It is not a 1% program of pretense. They are inside out clean because it is a Ravan free region. Their love is authentic, their happiness is authentic. They are carefree, they need nothing from anyone. Such scale of cleanliness and celebration and greatness of everyone. They are godlike beings, innocence, harmless, supremely non-violent. Means no sorrow. Yeah, they don't take sorrow, they can't have a thought of giving sorrow. Supremely non-violent. World of disbelief. It is God's world. And this world is right in front of everyone's nose. It is the success of Ravan that they are busy. Mind is busy in the story, full time. So more we experience this, that's the way if we use the word yoga for this, more we experience this all-round benefit for the self, paras become strong, experiences only will become more refined, but you are also making it easy for others to experience. Because you are shining light on their truth. It is like a lighthouse effect. You are seeing the global, all the family of those souls, their greatness, their truth, their life with God, their immortality. Om Shanti. So it will be nice we take up questions or any comments.
Thank you. One question. What is the difference between like blind faith and trust?
Sure. Trust is not a word we are emphasizing, or our emphasis is on Nischay, and translation would be certainty. And we explained, yesterday, today, like say right now here in front of me there is a table. It is not a blind faith, you know. I see the table, I can touch the table. I know there is a table. I may another time may not have seen it, but for some reason I feel I saw it yesterday, so I know there is a table there. So I have certainty. This is what we want to be in. Maybe I trust someone's judgment, and based on that, I may come to certainty. I rely upon his judgment. And so we come to the subject of certainty in different ways. Blind faith is I am not sure. I really feel there is a not sure about, not seen it. I say, have a faith that there is a table. This is a language, blind faith is a language of bhakti tradition. So as we said yesterday, faith means that word implies doubt. Nischay implies uh, you're sure, being sure. Trust is a word that a Lokik word used. We didn't use the word.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you. How can I strengthen the Paris intellect?
Yes, just as we said now, more you use paras, it becomes stronger. Whichever muscle he uses, anyone uses, that muscle becomes strong.
Okay. When we are fighting with body conscious sanskaras, are we in Pata or in Paris?
The word fight is appears to be patta, and that we understand there are body conscious sanskars, but we also understand that there is an angel there, and that, so we can do it in a neat way, clean. Start. It's a game of a second. Understand this. You work with the soul, work with the paras, bring this, give that soul the chance, encourage the sky to experience the sky. Any addict, if you speak to any addict, he will say, especially if you meet someone who has been successful to come out of addiction, you need a replacement. You can't just drop a drug or alcohol. There has to be a replacement. So also here, we don't just fight a sanskara, work on the other side. You know, you're serious to remove the old sanskar, but give a program to the mind, what the mind is going to experience, how it is going to keep him. Mind has to be kept busy. So with knowledge, with ideas, with experiences, create a program of your own experiments. And then these old sanskars, there's no time. Mind has no time. The replacement. So it doesn't look like fighting. It is like a intelligent intervention.
I really like the word replace. Thank you. Going back to the subject of faith, if faith implies doubt, should Nischay have a different English translation?
Certainty is a good word. Conviction, dictionary uses the word conviction, being sure. And these are just some words in the context.
And another question on the subject, if we haven't experienced anything, then is it blind faith?
It's as we said earlier, I may trust someone's judgment. Like, for example, Jupiter in the sky. I might not have seen the Jupiter, but I know the judgment of some others who use the telescopes, and they tell how it is good enough information for me, and it is a working model for me that Jupiter exists and Pluto exists. Maybe not many people will be able to see Pluto, but we have a working model that it exists. I won't use the word blind faith for that.
Nice, very clear message from Deep. A question from Mehmet. What is the difference between Paras Buddhi and Divya Buddhi?
These words, different words, Baba is using these words, sometimes synonymously. But Paras has a meaning, it includes Divya, divine intellect, it includes broad intellect, it includes subtle intellect, it includes unlimited intellect. So it is like something that inclusive of all the other words that Baba uses. Various times Baba uses these words, loving intellect and broad intellect and unlimited intellect, far-reaching intellect. So Paras is this, but Paras includes divine intellect that can experience divinity.
I think, yes, thank you. Shalinda's typed, how can you make Paras bigger? And I think you answered that, like by using it, it strengthens. I don't know if you wanted to add anything. We have a couple of questions from yesterday still left. When the soul awakens for a minute, is the soul in his state of fullness?
Yes, the reality of the soul just now, when we experienced this, even for 5 minutes, You are creating time and you are seeing that big truth is right in front of everyone's nose. Big reality. This is everyone's truth and our truth. And so if you are awake for a minute or half a minute, you are just seeing that wonder.
It's already there, you don't need to create it. Another question from yesterday. Baba says, yeah, I continue?
Yeah.
Sound is good? Baba says that we are impure after all these lifetimes. Can we access our powers in a second and hold on to them? Or will we have to conquer one head of Ravan at a time?
Yeah, sure. The game for us is we continue working on the soul, truth, light, powers. We continue working on that, and that all of that makes as if creates light. And when the light increases, the shadow continues to become smaller. So Ravan overall becomes weaker as you are growing in light. And when shadow is smaller, it is easier even to recognize what Ravan is, Ravan's heads are, and stop Ravan. So our method is that, you are why we are reading Murlis and studying knowledge and keeping ourselves busy with the program, Baba gives full-time program, so that all along it is all nourishment in different ways to the soul within you. And as that is happening, the other side continues to become weaker on every front, and discrimination is bigger. All of these factors are useful for this final victory.
Yes, it's clear. And just to clarify, because the word faith is commonly used in the Murli regarding faith in the self, faith in Baba, faith in the study, in the family, is it always used, the word Nischay is always used here?
Baba uses the word Nischay. Yeah.
One question here that's come from Shady. May you give us an example of strengthening our Paris intellect?
Example. We have to be the example ourselves. It is subtle thing, but more the Paras is becoming stronger, you will find your natural instincts and reactions will come from that space. Right now we are, it is a surprising thing how far we have gone in the story and getting caught in the details of the story. If the Paras is strong, your reactions are different. I will just come back to the model that way. I will use the board and just reorient ourselves, and that will help us understand the other questions also. If that is okay.
Yes, very good.
Just simple orientation. Day before, in the blessing, one line within that blessing, understand the seed of the vices. So here, seed of the vices, seed of the bondages. That was the context. Remove the seed. Now, simple map that has to be there in everyone's home is something like this. Simple map. Where this applies to, this is where our whole victory, defeat is over here. And what we are seeing, if I was to see with uh, in full light, I will see here is the family, father, and that is the home, perfection, a region of bliss and love. This is what is happening. Everyone is immensely lovely, clean, inside out, they are clean. And here is a temporary extra experience of the theater story. Just as say you may be going into a theater and watch a drama for 1 hour, come back. No different. This is exactly what is happening here. These are the immortal souls, noble souls. They are experiencing this story. They come back. Their world remains what it is. They are immortal. Their world is eternal. Nothing changes. This story cannot change their reality at all. They remain noble, shrestha, elevated, and that means their personality of absolute peace. There is no reason it should be anything different. In that story, there may be dragons coming, there may be destruction, there may be story finishes even. Episode itself finish and everything gone, buildings, everyone gone. You bodily beings all into burnt into fire. But they remain absolutely the same. It's just like you are watching a theater and you are back. So there is no reason they should have anything different than the experience of peace. Their bliss remains same, their family remains the same, celebration remains. It is nice film, nice theater. Their love remains. Nothing changes. Their harmony, their treasures are whatever, their world, home, treasures, they are secure. Everything remains. Now there is a but. What is this but? They can cross this dotted line. And once they cross this dotted line, what do you call this dotted line? What is this dotted line? We use the word ignorance. To cross the line, like you are into watching a theater, if you start thinking that is my what, that chair is my chair on the screen, then that is confusion. You have crossed the line into ignorance. So here, to cross this line means you have entered into ignorance. But the scale of our ignorance is extreme. We don't just cross in and say that the theater, oh, I own that chair, and you come home. You start owning more and more and more in that. You create relations on that in that story. You believe that these are my people, and you love some people there. And as you get drawn into this theater, as you're getting drawn, you are completely forgetting your real world. In the World Health Organization, in last year, has been using new diagnosis, and it is called emotional disconnect connected with a game. Computer games. It is called gaming, and uh, and so what is happening with some people who are using computer games? They are getting drawn into it so much that they do not speak to their parents, they do not speak to their family people, they ignore. They even ignore themselves. They don't even eat or drink. And they are into so much drawn into the computer game, and they got so much success in that game. And these games go on for months and years. That has become their world, and they are disconnected from this reality. So it is called emotional disconnect, and the diagnosis is called gaming. Same has happened here. As these, you know, souls are getting drawn into this computer game, this story, what we call story, 5,000 years long story. They cross the line, and then they are getting drawn more and more and more. They are disconnected from their true family, from themselves, from their father, their home. And now they are drowning in that story world. This is where Ravan flourishes. When we say Ravan and the ego, in that they are describing themselves based on things in the story. I am that doll in that story. I am manager. I am the president. They are all talking about story there. Everything temporary. Everything is going to go. So all these ego that are created, we use this symbol for ego. All these ego that are created, they are programmed with the victim mentality because they are insecure, in a great deal of panic because their whole idea of self is based on unpredictable story. Episode itself is going to finish, and so their life is of this constant subconscious panic and a personality potential victim all the time. Anyone can say something and you feel it is an attack on you. And this applies to a whole lot. And when you are in that mode, this is a constant 24-hour mode. You are looking for dangers. You ignore everything else and your attention goes on what is negative, dangers. Now, this is the life. Here we are talking about celebration and constant joy and constant love and innocence and peace and truth and God and angelic souls. You cross the line and you are into this mode personality of a potential victim. This applies right from the kings to anybody. Anyone can say something. One word can appear like a attack. This kind of life we have chosen helplessly and don't even know what has gone wrong. It is like we are drowning in that computer story. Everyone is busy. We have created society like that. No one is telling us that you are doing something wrong. Everyone is getting prizes and they get PhDs and they become scholars in that spell of ignorance. And it is extreme. So when the word was used, the seed of vices, bondages, sorrow, desperations, desires, ego, and whole. Today, Mama was using the word devil spirit. So devil, demonic, Ravan's side within us. What is the seed of all this? All kinds of our unpleasant, something that we don't like in ourselves, something we don't like in others. What is the seed of all of this? Anyone want to answer? Seed of all of that is crossing this line. Ignorance. Because once you lost your clarity, you don't even know. There is no map even what is happening and who you are. Then it is a free fall. Then one is just following another. Someone else is running fast speed in a downward direction, and you also join him in the ego. Mama used the word competition. This competition for sin. So everyone is into this competition. One speaks loud, you speak even louder to compete. But one is going faster in greed, you have to compete with him. So everyone is in this competition for sin. Once we cross that line, and there is this ignorance. That's why the answer to this riddle, human riddle, but also a personal riddle, is we come out of this situation, present situation, come out of this computer game, help others from drowning also. That's why the answer Baba gives is knowledge. Knowledge, clarity, revision, repetition. But we have to come on this side. Not enough just to have information and still working for the ego and continue in that direction. But we have to use knowledge until we come on this side of the line. We are at least seeing this madness of drowning in that story and come back to our life of celebration and family, true family, and life of perfection. The world of disbelief compared to what is happening now, this devil spirit, world with devil spirits all around. Compared to that, this world, it is other extreme. It is a world of disbelief. We go both ways at the extreme. Just like there is a day and night, and they're extreme. Daylight, midday is one world, and midnight, it is extreme, extremely dark. So also when we cross this line, we go into extreme darkness. And Ravan and vices and bondages, they all flourish in their darkness. We cannot remove it unless we address the seed. In that blessing it was said, just like you break a branch and you remove something, there is a weed, you just remove a little bit of it, but seed is still there, then it will grow. Then next day it will grow. But the seed has to be removed to remove the weed. So also here, to remove this expansion of devil spirit, we have to remove the seed. essence of the knowledge is to understand. Every aspect is as essential, but our field of action is this story world. That is where the field of action is. Like if you are computer game, if that is what is the cause, I need to understand that computer game for what it is, and what should be the right attitude towards that computer game. So same here, we need to understand this story, what it is for, and remain free. And, Sarah, want to add anything? Any comments or any comments from you?
Just thinking about the experience of like virtual reality. In these days, it's very convincing, and but we know it's not real, and we can't expect it to continue. It can just crash. And yeah, for the soul to experience this world is literally the same. It's yeah, very helpful. Couple of questions in relation to this sketch, actually, just to understand. In the model, is there something between the dashed blue line and the solid red line? It's from Ricardo.
That dotted blue line.
In between, so that's the space in between.
Yes, yes, sure. But what I was going to say, dotted blue line is a psychological line. It is not something there line. It is a concept. You cross into ignorance. Otherwise, we are just coming in the story. Nothing like that line exists. But this is all diagrammatic, helps us grasp that there is a fictional reality and there is a true reality. We are saying not just a home. We are not using just a home word here. We are saying reality. What is the difference between home and reality? Say there's a home and you can go to a shop and you can bring something from the shop home. And it is exchange happens. You can go into the town and you can bring back something. You meet some friends, you can bring those friends. You make new friends in the town and they come home. There's an exchange between home and the outside world. But when we are talking about two realities, there is no exchange. You can watch dream. Say if you have dream, you can watch a dream. It's a different reality. But you cannot bring gold from that dream into this world. No exchange can take place. You can go into a fictional world, story world, but you cannot bring anything in the back. You can watch and step back. So here what is shown in this blue, in this green box is a different reality. And from that reality, no exchange can take place with our world. We can just watch it and come back. You cannot fall in love with someone there and say that that person will love me forever. No, the dream finishes. And so it will, that's why that dotted blue line is ignorance. To get trapped into something like this, to get a belief that you can own something there, you can own someone else there. It is like a madness. But we are saying here, we have gone extreme in that ignorance. We live in that fictional world. and completely ignored our real world. This is the whole society. So when Baba comes, Baba is taking us out of this dream. They are living in that dream world, in a fictional world, and helping them wake up to the real world. That dotted blue line is just to show that we are crossing a line into ignorance. Nothing physical exists. Even right now, to observe this in ourselves. This is Prashant talking, and we are meeting here on Zoom. This is also happening in this reality. And who are watching this? The invisible souls. They are watching this reality. Try and be aware of this. And only time I am in truth on the right side of the line when I am aware that this fictional world can just disappear. Whole thing, just like this Zoom can suddenly crash and can suddenly end, but same everything here, it is not in my control. Things can just end any moment, things can change. And the awake soul is very aware of this, is free from it. He doesn't create any bondage. If he is sensible, he will not create bondage. No expectations, no desires, no bondages, no vices. All this language, it is that you are getting trapped in it, creating ego within that fictional world, creating bondages and taking sorrow from it. It's a madhouse. Don't you add anything? So,
Just some comments in the chat. Nazanin's written, the reason we feel empty no matter what we accumulate is that the soul is not fully awake. Otherwise, if the soul wakes up, we all feel full.
yes, everything is revolving around that. But you are taking steps and to congratulate, creating this 1 minute of good quality, congratulate. Create another minute of good quality, congratulate. Stop feeding Ravan. That is on the other front. Don't cooperate with Ravan. But that constantly being awake, that will happen. But we are starting with minutes and minutes. That process. Enjoy the fun. The process also is nice.
I was thinking how we project continuity onto the drama, but the only continuity is the vision of the soul being the traveler. And it becomes very important to then experience that, because it feels like continuity is like a need, just like there's a need for peace. And if we look back at the day or the week, the only continuity was this invisible traveler observing these changing scenes. So that is an anchor and a security. So there are no questions at the moment. It might be a good time for a break.
Sure.
Do you want to offer a kind of a question or an aspect to reflect on?
And the important thing for us to grasp is the scale of truth. Try and grasp that. We use the word disbelief. compared to what we are um, gone through, and understand the seed of bondage. Try and understand how we can remove the seed. But any of these aspects, it is good for, you may have some other areas to reflect on.
Yes, it's a personal thing, and some may like a direction, but anything based on the subject. So we'll have the 10-minute break, a chance to meet others, and to allow everyone to have a chance to share, and we'll meet back very soon. So enjoy. Thank you. It's very nice to hold that feeling of silence, whatever's going on in the drama. So we're going to invite a couple of you to share, and we have Ami who's joining from the US, and just invitation if you would like to come into sound and if possible camera. So I think it's early morning for you.
Yes, hi Sarah.
Hi there. So it'd be nice
Hello
to
to
hear.
everyone. Yes. Is sound okay?
It's very good.
Okay. Yes. So it was nice discussion in the group, and discussed about how it is important to going beyond the attachment and just be simple, be the truth, and connect with the truth. And that is, the sanskaras are still going to be there. So rather than working on one sanskar, just, minute by minute, the practice is to go beyond and work from that space. And that is helping to not to cross the line. So in how the soul and role are integrated with each other, but still they are so much separated. So that was one thing, and something Ami had reflected from yesterday about the Nischay, and felt as if when we come to the Gyan, or when we initially take the courses and everything, the faith develops about the knowledge, and the second step is to experiment on the point of the Gyan, point from the Murli, and that gives the experience of that knowledge, and that experience is giving the Nischay, that okay, this is for me and this is the truth. And once that Nischay is me being a soul, the supreme soul, and this drama that makes me being, in the Hindi, the word had been used by Baba is Nischint, which means carefree. So when the truth is the soul and supreme soul, and this is just a drama, just the temporary, that making me so much carefree, that for each moment, each scene is temporary, and also it has benefit in it. So whatever comes, whether good or bad, it does have some benefit, and that leads the soul to the victory, which is in Baba's word again. The word is a nishchit. So there are three words: Nischay, Nischint, and Nischit. So somehow like those three words, and it was very much interrelated. Yes, thank you, Sarah.
Really nice, thank you. There's actually a lot that you covered, but in a very simple way, which is much appreciated. Even one of those points, benefit in everything, if we just use it during the day, that really helps the freedom feeling. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
I'm also wondering if Anna Doliani, who is with us, currently based in Lebanon, is available to say hello and share. Oh, hello. I think it's good afternoon for you now.
Hello. Yes, it's almost 1:30, and something that I've been thinking lately, but also reinforced by what I heard during the session today, is how simple Gyan and the application of Gyan can be. And although we are towards the end of the conference age, and it's not although, but while we are towards the end, things are being refined, but also become easier and easier for all of us, whether it is for older Brahmins or even very new ones. And the way I see it and I play with it lately is that we used to say that there are, and we still say that there are different categories of thoughts, but somehow naturally I found myself thinking or sharing with others that there are two kinds of thoughts. The thoughts that correspond to reality, and imagined thoughts. Because thoughts of Gyan that take us beyond any thought about the drama. Whether it is positive thought about the drama or negative thought. But I think Gyan is for this, to show to us that we don't need to think anything about the drama. And if we still use thoughts, or we need to use thoughts, they should all be to remind us that the reality is beyond the drama. And ultimately to use any thought of Gyan to see the source of the thoughts, to see the self. And the self has nothing to do with thoughts, and definitely not thoughts about the body, which belongs to the stage, or even with a character that is recorded within the soul. And we can clearly see that yes, that physical body belongs to the screen. But somehow we mix the self with the role that is recorded within the soul. And so to always see how the self right now and constantly is the only one who is real, and is the only one who gives life to anything else, and anything else beyond himself and beyond his nature is fictional. So really the whole knowledge is about creating this clarity again and again. And when we experiment going beyond all thoughts with whatever content they come, this is a way to touch truth, to connect with the truth which is there. And when one does this in the right way, which means it's not some thought seeing the self, but the self is the embodiment of himself, then there is conviction. Because from here, from this space, you see anything else, how it comes and goes, and how it is secondary. Even the thoughts, even thoughts of Gyan, because of course Baba comes and gives us the intellect that is able to choose the right thoughts. But ultimately the thoughts are the creation, and going back to what is real, which is only the source, the star in the real world. So just experimenting, and even nuance can come out to a very good level of Nischay. Thank you.
It's very nice. It's really nice to connect also. And this is the stability, whatever's going on in the story. It's that continuity of thoughts beyond. Yeah, I can also feel ego reacting a bit like, whoa. So it's very, very nice. It's we need to clock in time there. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And yeah, so recapping on the questions which were there for reflection, grasping the scale of truth, the disbelief, that word was used. I like the word grasping. It's like trying to grapple, also strengthening the intellect to experience it. And then understanding the seed of bondage. It's also helpful because it's not necessarily this the essence, and when we understand that, everything should be very simple. And how we can remove the seed. So feel free to type your reflections which came up, or any questions also. There was a question from before, but I think maybe Prashant might like to start with some practice. Thank you.
I was going to read a short passage, spiritual writing, and we'll hear it in a state of soul awareness. Concentration practiced with discernment is higher than mechanical repetition of a prayer. Absorption in God, to live with Him, is higher than concentration. A man should not hate any living creature. All of this will be an experience for us if we see from that soul awareness, and the other side is the story, theater, drama, and then it will be an experience. A soul, a man, implying soul, should not hate any living creature. Why should he? All are his brothers, his souls. They are immensely lovely. Hate doesn't exist at that level. Let him be friendly and compassionate to all. These same souls are here. For the Paras, he is dealing with those same souls. On the other side is the story, the script, but he is on the right side of the line. He must free himself from the delusion of I and my. We said crossing the line, first thing comes is as if you can own things in that screen, in the film. So free himself from the delusion of I and my. He will accept pleasure and pain with equal tranquility. He will be forgiving, ever contented, self-controlled, united with me in his meditation. His resolve will be unshakable, dedicated to me in intellect and in mind. He is dear to me. It is God saying this. He neither molests his fellow men nor allows himself to become disturbed by the world. No longer swayed by envy, joy, anxiety, fear, he is dear to me. He is pure and independent of the body's desire. Understand this independent. It is a bit like there is a plant. Here, there is a plant. Plant needs certain things. It needs soil, it needs water. But that is not my need. I'm independent of the need of the plant. Awake soul, he needs nothing from this story. He's quite happy to find food for this body and do many things. He's in this world and family, do things. At the same time, he knows he needs nothing. He doesn't need to be in the story. So he's pure and independent of the body's desire. He is able to deal with the unexpected, prepared for everything, undisturbed by anything. He is neither vain nor anxious about the results of his actions. He is dear to me. He got up ultimate victory. Sky is his victory. He is not looking for victory in the story. So there's no anxiety about the results of the action. He does not desire or rejoice in what is pleasant. The whole thing is, Patthar is caught in the story. What is pleasant, unpleasant, and that is all matters for him. Difference between Patthar and Paras. Paras is seeing his big victory, big truth, beyond. This sky has opened up. He's from there. That's 180 degrees shift. So in the story, many things happen. So he does not desire or rejoice in what is pleasant. He does not dread what is unpleasant. He remains unmoved by good and evil fortune. He is dear to me. His attitude is the same towards friend and foe. He is indifferent in honor, insult, heat, cold, pleasure, pain. He is free from attachment. He values praise and blame equally. He can control his speech. He is content with whatever he gets. His home is nowhere. He is at home everywhere. His mind is fixed upon me, and his heart is full of love for me. He is dear to me. This true wisdom will lead you to immortality. The faithful practice it with devotion, taking me for their highest aim. To me, they surrender heart and mind, They are exceedingly dear to me. Surrender. Surrender here, to surrender Ravan to Ram. Then that is the ultimate challenge. Normally, Ravan doesn't want to surrender to anyone. He's got me. So if there is a understanding of the game and you want to surrender ego to Ram, of course, he is exceedingly dear to God. Let us continue with our experience. Our method, as was mentioned earlier, simple. Make it simple. Even children don't, if they're watching a film, they don't mix their life with the film. They watch the film. We said yesterday their life is with mommy, daddy. This is all. Mukti, Jivan Mukti, justice. So simple. Just that when you are Patthar, you don't see the film as film. And one is drowning in it and don't even know he's drowning. When you are using Paras, you are saying just short story. And there is a big reality behind. In a natural way to play with this. Fun. And we may, of course, create time of concentration and all. The rest of the time, it is fun. See that there is this big family and celestial truth and celestial celebration and company of God. We are talking here big prize, and the whole thing is eternal. Some of these words worth writing them down. Draw those sketches, write down some words. We need, as a students, we need revision, repetition. So right now we are coming back to this. Whole thing becomes easiest to the easy, just using the right instrument. It is like using glasses. And we are seeing on one side is a story. And many, according to script, one time there is praise and defamation and birth and death. It's all happening in that script. All episodes finish. But there is a big reality beyond. And this is the dimension of family, true father, true home. Home is in this reality. True self. And it's so wonderful. The mind is like a beautiful faculty we got. It goes there. And it is surprising it was caught in this story all this time. Possibly for years, stuck in that story. Now we can take this mind beyond the story to experience this true family, true home. We are free to shine light on different aspects. When we are speaking of the home, we can see the light of this home. Of course, silence of this home. But most relevant for us, this is timeless. This dimension is timeless. Timeless and endless. The reason demonic spirits, Mama used the word devil spirits, take birth because of insecurity. Because there is an end in that world, in the story world. That creates this panic. And in that panic, all these Ravan sanskaras flourish. In the world of truth, we are discovering there is immortality. Your world is endless and changeless. Everyone is safe. You are safe. Relationships, love from God, it is safe, secure. Nothing changes. When you find you are so secure, then the noble sanskaras come up. Psychology is this. Secure in an absolute way. Everyone wants to be secure, but they try to be secure in that insecure story. That becomes a deception. So the one who is conscious, soul that is conscious, he knows his life is supremely beautiful. He is safe, everyone is safe. Life with God, region of truth. It is not a fiction, region of truth, region of love. But like a region that is clean. Nothing false. Love is true, bliss is true, contentment is true, and forever. This dimension remains forever. Supreme dimension. Only they can forget. So that is the only thing that can happen. They cross the line. The truth remains in a timeless way. as we go through our rest of the day, we have the option not to get drawn into the story straight away. Let this awareness remain, the perspective from the soul, conscious soul. That conscious soul, he becomes the invisible guest in the story world. It is not Prashant who is going to be the guest. The invisible soul is the guest. Invisible soul is the invisible traveler. Let that attention remain there. Then it is soul consciousness. If that is forgotten, then game is gone. Then the time becomes one patthar, an ego-based effort. But as was said, even for minutes, repeatedly to check, see the comparison and see the contrast. Congratulate, even 1 minute you got it right, congratulate. So any thoughts? Anyone would like to share? Any questions?
Thank you. Interesting, you actually mentioned quite a lot about time, and there's a question from Bhavana. How to get over time consciousness?
In what way or what exactly she means time?
I'm not sure, but one interpretation of it, but maybe Bhavana could confirm in the chat, but there is a lot of anxiety around time, and maybe even as spiritual effort makers, we're also working in a sense against time, or ego may feel that way, making effort with a time frame. So do you have any comments on that?
Sure. The effort, surprisingly, is the same. The soul, and the conscious soul, dealing with the whole thing, is prepared for everything in the story. Is free from the story. And the episode can finish next minute. It is not a long process. You will be ready, just in time. You remain awake now, and the story can finish next minute. You are in that space of freedom from the story. Time is at the story level. And the story level, there are episodes, but there may be another episode going on. It may finish now. It is like you are free. You got your other things to experience. You got your sky, timeless. Your world is timeless. So the answer is the same. Nourish that soul awareness, creating minutes and minutes at that level.
Feels like it answers the question. Bhavana confirmed drama being over. Consciousness of end. Thank you. This is maybe a quick question for clarification from Edward. Do we refer to Paris as an awareness, or as a state of consciousness, or a place in the subtle region or the incorporeal plane?
It is like an instrument. The word intellect is a nice word for that. Baba uses the word paris buddhi. It is an instrument. So that helps us understand and discriminate, gives us a structure, model, shows us what is right, wrong. So in this case, paris helps us see the bigger map.
Thank you. The question from a little earlier, what about the soul that is getting impure and has to be pure before going home? If we just forget the truth, I'm not sure if this is making sense. If we just forget the truth and it stays the same, why do we get impure? Why does the soul become impure?
As was said, the first line we cross is confusion. We have parallels how people get drawn into the computer game, how people gradually create attachments of all kinds. Confusion. Children, they can be visiting someone's house and they create attachments and they cry when it is time to go. Confusion, childish confusion. We do exactly the same. We come into this childish confusion. You can't see the border between the reality and fiction. Different reality, but we can't see. That's why we need paras to clearly see these two separate things.
Thank you. Now Sue's typed a couple of questions here connected. How do we know if we get it right even for a second? What should we be feeling?
Yeah. Just like how do you know if your posture is right? If your posture is right, there is no pain. Same happens here. In our mind and the emotional, all kinds of feelings, they will definitely come. More we are going in the direction of, in the story, crossing the line, going into ego and degradation, it brings pain. When you come out of that, even for 1 minute, you will feel there is a feeling of fun, feeling of lightness, freedom from burden. And you won't get glimpses of it. That's a sign. And those words we had written, feeling where everyone appears lovely. There is drama, all kinds of actions are going on, but you from the heart genuinely feeling good about others and want to benefit others or love others. And what was read, that is a description of that experience. You're in control. There is peace. In other words, your posture is right. There is no pain.
Maybe if your posture is right, there's no pain under provocation.
Yes.
Nice. Practicing yesterday, feeling that others, even strangers, wherever one is, are like dear brothers from the home, as a practice, and very nice, just as a contemplation that the soul feels happy to see the brother in this virtual reality world, just silently. So thank you, Sue, for the question. Ricardo has typed, can enlightened intellect be a translation of Paris intellect?
Enlightened? Sure. Just a paras is a word Baba uses. But oh, yes, it is very much enlightened.
Yes. And this question, I'm not sure who it's from now. The star in the region of light, the real home, is an embodiment of all the qualities and secure in truth. Is it okay to say the golden age is an extension of that real world in the physical world?
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. We say golden age. The physical world is always the reflection. So, because the souls are experiencing that reality, um, that subtle realities. Golden age is not just the golden palaces, it is the souls who are paras. That's why Baba uses the word parasnath to Lakshmi Narayan. So they are in that state. They know the subtle and they see others as souls. They are very soul conscious. So true golden age is at a subtle level, at a physical. And then of course, physical world is a perfection and whatever harmony. But the souls are conscious and they see the subtle and they live at that level. Story is story. The Iron Age, it is a story, and Golden Age also a story. They are not deceived by the story.
And it makes sense that there's not the consciousness of death when we know it's a story in the golden age. So just because someone changes the costume, we don't use the word death for that. So I think all questions have been answered. I don't know, just for this moment at least. And I know we've come up to time. So if you want to share any final reflections.
Yes, and we'll come to final practice also. But Sarah, want to share any thoughts? Any thoughts from you?
Well, I feel I just shared really just reviewing what's written here. I think it's a chance to be more immersed in the practice. This point, the invisible soul is the guest. So simple, that sentence, but it's amazing how we hear this language and how I need to keep reviewing the simple things, because if this guest idea has got anything to do with, in this case, Sarah, it's mixed up. So it's again keeping it clean. And I think there's a relief in that, because then it's much easier to separate things. At least let me see what's there, but see it clean and clear. So that brought a big feeling of lightness. Not trying to make Sarah into some guest, and that's fine. That's part of the story, as Anna was also highlighting. So that was a nice point for me. There's a couple of requests to find the source of what Prashant was reading earlier.
Sure, we can post it.
Yeah, we'll put it in the G drive, which has been set up for recordings, the reference.
We'll create a few minutes coming back to the essence. And essence of the whole thing, essence of knowledge and essence of yoga is to come to that point. Sometimes it is called bindu stage, point stage, seed stage. This is a step towards that stage. Invisible presence. In that expanse of light, completely different reality to the story. Invisible presence. Very aware of the story at a distance. The whole thing, past, present, it is all happening in that story world. Very aware of the great family of souls, their greatness, aware of the company of God, and that supreme love, eternal bond, aware of this, aware of all round wonder. But the focus is just that presence, soul, in that world of light, knowing that this world is timeless. And he doesn't need to know anything else. Thank you. Meet again soon. Appreciate the time together.
Thank you, and see you all tomorrow.